Oh, he just jumps down 2 stories, whatever, you know.
Dude, what body armor is that guy wearing? He just dropped a couple rounds on me. He still kept trucking.
So the whole feed tray coming up, it's just a real small one. Yep. I've seen belt feds with that before.
Ladies and gentlemen, we want to welcome you back to another episode of Total Recoil. We feature weapons and equipment from some of your favorite video games. Yes, your favorite video games. No, not you. Yes, you in front row.
The other you.
The other you, yes.
Welcome to Friday night.
Welcome to the multiverse Total Recoil, everybody. I am Israel Wright, your host, former Green Beret, and with me once again, the inimitable Paul Meixner.
Hey folks, Paul Meixner, former U.S. Army infantryman turned weapons and tactics instructor. I teach weapons and tactics in both the film industry and outside of the film industry.
And today, folks, we're going to be looking at some weapons and equipment from Battlefield 2042. Yes, you were waiting for this one, weren't you? No, not you. Get out of here.
Yeah,
yes,
you leave
in the
now.
front row.
Stop.
Jeez, that
All right,
guy.
you can come back.
Okay, come on. Before we get started, folks, we want to tell you about a new channel from Gamology called Gamology Forecast. This is a deep dive into the wide galaxy of gaming, all things gaming in the gaming world, the gaming with the gaming, the gaming.
And then some gaming.
And then some more gaming. It's a new page about all things gaming, teaching you everything you need to know about the world of video games. And you know what? You just might learn something, all right?
About video games.
About video games. It's jam-packed with plenty of content never before seen from Gamology. Wonderful things like tips, tricks, and hacks with some of those games that you've been struggling with. Discovery compilations of new and hidden gem. A cornucopia of amazing
Monte Cristo.
A Monte Cristo, just a
jam.
full, it's a sandwich. Just bite it in.
Deep
It's a
fried,
metaphor.
powdered
Don't take
sugar,
it literally.
super sweet,
Video games
savory.
all over your face.
It's awesome.
Get a napkin.
You're gonna need a napkin.
Also, folks, be sure to check out Gamology's new channel, Send Noobs, where we check out virtual reality games and even some free games you should definitely see. Gamology Shorts, full of entertaining short gaming video. It's gonna be awesome, folks. So you have 3 new channels potentially you can go and check out after you watch this video. We really hope you enjoy them, folks. And let us know what other stuff you'd like to see from Gamology. Now, with that being said, let's get into it, folks. Paul, you ready?
I'm so ready.
Battlefield 2042, let's do it.
Battlefield 2042. Okay, so this is 2042. These are going to be futuristic weapons based on real life weapons.
Right, yeah, near future. You'll probably see a lot of stuff that's familiar.
AK-24. Well, I got mangled on the Metro video. Which, fair enough. Like, does he know the difference between AK-74 and AK-40? Yes, I do. But when the footage they show us says AK-47 and I'm not familiar with the video game, and sometimes they get the proportions wrong, so I'm just going to call it what they tell me it is. But, okay, so AK-24 is going to be a modern variant. Look at the size of that ring in the back, though, that rear aperture. That seems a little unrealistic to me. I mean, maybe for
maybe a little
shooting.
artistic license for
Yeah, which
gameplay.
happens, and you know, Call of Duty does that sometimes. So I think like if you go back to the previous game, what was it, Call of Duty Vanguard?
Yep.
Their M1, the rear aperture was way too big, but we didn't talk about that. That wasn't one of the weapons in our thing, but just an example. So that does look a little large to me. Like it would take a little longer to center it. It's not too far off.
I've recently been exposed to some modern looking AKs, but you know, it's funny because the heart of the weapon, the receiver, charging handle, that top cover, it really doesn't change.
Nope. And like, have you fired an AK-74 yet?
Nope.
Real soft shooting. Their pleasure. So I have an AKM. I was actually issued a legit AK-47. There's a few minor differences, but like one of them stamped, the other one's milled. I was issued a Russian milled AK-47 when I was in Iraq, which was really cool. I wish I could have found a way to bring that home legally, of course. It was awesome. But they're super sturdy. They're very reliable. They're not as reliable as like the Legend gives it. Like, you know, if it gets too dirty or if it gets too much gunk in it, they're not gonna work.
You can't throw it in the mud.
Right. You know, and they're not as accurate at range depending upon the caliber. Like the 7.62 by 3.9 is not quite as accurate as far as the 5.56 round out of a 20-inch barrel is. That's a great weapon system. It looked very realistic to me. I'm fine with it. I think it's cool. I think they did a good job. The PBX-45.
Can't remember whether or not they use fake names for licensing purposes in this game.
I think so. Well, also this is futuristic too, so then you have that added thing. So this is probably shooting a 45 ACP, which is a big, fat, slow round. It's a very effective round close up, especially if you're using ball rounds versus hollow points. Nowadays, so I usually carry a 9mm pistol. I started out carrying a 45, an HK USB 45, and I would carry as my EDC, just as a civilian, a 1911 and 45 for years. But modern modern 9mm ammo is so effective. Higher velocity, flatter trajectory, and with modern hollow points, like I tend to carry Federal HSTs or Hydra-Shocks, which Hydra-Shocks are older rounds.
What do you think about the look, feel, handling?
It's cool. It's really dark,
Seems
so it's pretty hard
smooth.
to see. You know, it kind of looks like the LRWC. I'm gonna screw up that acronym. They came out with this 45 subgun, which had some initial problems with accuracy, but everything else was brilliant on it. The manual of arms, and this kind of reminds me of it a little bit. It looks like a great little subgun. The recoil doesn't seem that much for 45, if this is indeed a 45. The magazine looks pretty thick for 45. That's probably 45 caliber. Oh, that was cool.
Clearing a little bit of debris.
Yeah, no, this would be a great, personal defense weapon, in-house weapon. The issue now is like, I love pistol caliber carbines, but unless you're going with the flux brace for a P320, which I'm a huge fan of, it's really innovative. It's so tiny, but yet it's still useful. Where nowadays so many people are rocking body armor, you might as well be shooting 5.56 at them. Which 5.56 out of that shorter platform is still great for urban, for like mouth and clearing rooms. But once you get outside of that room, if you got to shoot somebody on a rooftop, both of these. I mentioned Kevin Owens before because I have a huge man crush on the guy, but he has a story about working as a contractor in Mogadishu after getting out of the Irish Rangers. Their tier 1 special forces unit, the Irish Rangers. He was carrying an MP5, and after getting shot at by a bunch of people not having the range to hit back, he went back to their armory and like, oh, here's a Galil. So he picked up a Galil, and he's like, he carried that the rest of his time because you have range. So as far as clearing rooms, if you're not worried about hard plate body armor, that looks like an awesome weapon system. PP29. Okay, so it's got a rear receiver like an AK. This looks an awful lot like an AK. Oh, but it's got a forward helica magazine. So there are AK 9mm. It's basically like a Russian MP5. And there's a couple different versions of it, and they're pretty cool. Garen Thumb, who is just a killer YouTuber, he has a really cool video on what this is probably based off of. There's a bunch of guys do, but these helica magazines are really interesting. And I'm assuming that's what they are. So a helica magazine means...
Oh, it's like a helix.
Yeah,
like
helix.
Like
I think I said a DNA strand last time.
DNA's, yeah.
Yeah, but you can fit a lot more rounds in there.
Oh, really?
With that helica design, and that's to me what that looks like.
Looks real sleek. The helica magazine gives it a real sleek silhouette,
And depending, so this is definitely a pistol caliber carbine right here. That 7.62 by 3.9 round on a short barreled rifle, you got to have a really good compensator on the front because otherwise, like just the recoil of that.
Dude, what body armor is that guy wearing? He just dropped a couple rounds on me. He still kept trucking.
I mean, well, if this is a 9mm or 9mm Makarov, maybe it's a big toss up. You know what I mean? Like I love pistol caliber carbines. I absolutely love them, but I also I love cars and I love motorcycles. But in an all-out battle, this stuff is more for like hostage negotiation, hostage rescue, SWAT team type stuff. We don't really carry a lot of 9mm. Like military phased out most of our submachine guns. We just all run rifle caliber carbines or the Mark 18, the Defense Mark 18, and H&K I think has one, and that became super popular for a while. A lot of people were making clones of them. You either get a pistol brace on it or you fill out your FFL form and pay your $200 to legally have a shorter barrel on it.
Right.
But as I mentioned before, you lose a lot of velocity. So those are, I'd say they're the equivalent or better than these subguns up close and personal or for room clearing. You can still clear a room with a 16-inch, 20-inch rifle. The M5A3. Okay, so the sights look really realistic on here. And if you look at the front sight, we have a front sight post, thank goodness. But you also see tritium. It looks like tritium or fiber optic, probably tritium on either side, which is interesting that it's not just on the front because you can get front sight posts for like your battle rifles with the tritium insert, which helps with,
illumination
when it gets darker, when it gets night. Yeah, if you're running night vision, well, all of that's changing now, but you usually have a laser. A weapon light is the first thing you throw on your weapon. So the rear sight, that BIS backup iron sight, and they're called that even if they're made out of polymer. That looks very realistic. The ring is a little too big for what I would think. It's a little too big, but other than that, it's not too far off. Mag changes look good. Recoil looks fine. This looks like a, intermediate caliber, maybe a 5.56. It kind of looks like an old H&K.
Folks, let us know in the comments, what's the real world equivalent? Because I know sometimes they change the names for the sake of the game.
I mean, that looked cool. It looked cool. It looked believable. I'm not sure what it's based off of. So yeah, let us know. And let us know if you like that gun.
The SFAR-M. I think we're looking at what? I'm not really sure, like a SCAR or something? No, we've got something on the bottom
there.
Well,
that grenade launcher, I forget the designation, but that's
320?
a real... Yes, hey, look at you.
Getting sights, got it. Something's got to come out of all of it.
But yeah, that's the grenade launcher they put underneath the SCAR. This has some SCAR going on a little bit. The SCAR on full auto is a dream to shoot. I've mentioned before that I'm not the biggest fan of the SCAR because I like other rifles in semi-auto, but in full auto, the thing really shines. And FN just released a new SCAR without a reciprocating charging handle.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
So,
Yeah.
You know, I've heard operators that love them. I've heard operators that don't like them. I think the weapon system has been improved upon over time. That's a really cool looking grenade launcher. I believe that opens to the side, right?
Yeah. Oh,
so
yeah.
you can use like longer flares, and you can do things that wouldn't fit into a 203, right? Because they make different rounds that are longer than your standard 40 mic.
Is that a pretty deep magazine well there? It's kind of going right in, all the way in.
Yeah. So that grenade launcher too, it wraps around the mag.
Okay, there you go, because of the attachment. Okay,
Yep. Where the 203 is just in front of it. The rear sight post looks very realistic. Again, slightly bigger aperture, but that one isn't as bad as the others. The handling, the whole manual of arms looks good and realistic. Yeah, but you see how that magazine goes right through that grenade launcher.
Yeah. A lot of polymer. That was the thing about the SCARs, where we have polymer rather
and you
than
know,
metal.
for battle weapons, for military use, polymer is getting so much more effective. I think HK was the first company, and then Glock really popularized it, and then HK came back with a few more. Now everybody's doing it. Like my standard duty weapon, my normal CCW is a polymer. They're so strong and so light. And like I said, even the SCAR, even with the polymer, because one thing that solid metal does is it helps absorb recoil. It gives it mass. The SCAR on full auto, it's a pleasure to shoot. It's fun. All right, the LCMG. So I'm assuming this is going to be some type of light machine gun.
I think you're probably right.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, look at that belt fed ammo.
One thing I love about this is the detail and the links falling apart. It looks just like your standard SAR.
That's a real stubby looking
So
top
the whole feed tray coming up, it's just a real small one. Yep. I've seen belt feds with that before. Where normally, like for the SAW and the 240, you're looking at this whole thing popping up, the rail on it and everything, where that's just the forward part.
Real slick optic right there.
Yeah, little holographic optic. We got like a nut sack underneath. So for those that don't know, I was a SAW gunner for quite a while and a 240 gunner. For the SAWs, we have these 200 round plastic drums, and they were great, hold 200 rounds, but they were plastic. They could break if you fell on them. But also the main detractor from them is they were noisy. You could shake them and they'd make a lot of noise.
Like a bag of Legos, a box of Legos.
Yeah, there you go. That's exactly what I think. And there's two different versions. There's like this circular version that I've never used and was never issued. And then the other one was just the standard, like kind of in the shape of a box. And you'd unzip it, you'd fill your rounds, you pull it out. And those were awesome. And it was 100 rounds and they were pretty quick to change out. And so I would usually have like 4 of those on me, and then 2 for like a raid or something. I would have like 4 nut sacks on my gear, and then 4 200 round drums, and then 1 in the gun.
Oh, quite a few. Wow.
Yeah, and that's only 900 rounds total for a SAW gunner, so that's not too bad. When I started doing patrols, I'd carry like 1,400, 1,200 rounds. I was always falling over because it was so top heavy. And that thing looked cool. That looked awesome. I mean, you have any thoughts on it?
No, man. Your thoughts are my thoughts.
All right, what do we got here?
It's like a marksmanship rifle, DRM.
Okay. Yep. And again, you were talking about polymer. What's fascinating though is they show us this footage with like a holographic sight, which that'll work. You know what I mean? Like you can show an aim point or an EOTech.
Probably want like
M14, but
like a magnification scope.
That's and there we go. Okay, ask and you shall receive. There we go. And that looks like a variable powered op, which I always screw up the acronym. LPVO, LVPO. I always mess that up. So we got the donut of death. Okay, we're switching back to a holographic sight. So this must work pretty good close up. You got that charging handle right there. Is that reciprocating? I'm not sure. I can't tell if it is or not.
Going pretty fast, yeah.
Yeah, these are going pretty quick. So it definitely looked more modern. It had like a bit of maybe Masada going on, the Magpul Remington ACR. It looked very realistic, something futuristic, but not like
I feel like that's what they're going for in 2042. It's just maybe, like 2042 is just 20 years in the future.
Right.
They're trying to go for that.
And if you think about it, like what's 20 years in the future for firearms? It could all be completely different, but
It's
we're
really
still
advanced.
using the mod deuce.
Well, sometimes those designs, they endure. Like I was talking about the AK, like the heart of it remains the same. You can put rails on it, compensators and different stock and stuff, but the heart of the machine is still there.
Yep.
Bolt action
Is this a
sniper
bullpup?
rifle.
Nope.
No, it looks like a standard.
Standard. Oh, ouch. Yeah, screw you.
I love the glare from the sun. The optic.
Yeah, that's cool. This thing looks dope. I mean, you can see how quickly he's manipulating that bolt. We go in, it's magazine fed, so you don't have to worry about, you can put that optic right over the top because you don't have to worry about shoving the rounds in the top.
Right, you're not going to feed from the top.
It would be neat to have, so for rifles like this, and I'm just getting into long distance shooting, but I put a little red dot on top. For my main battle rifle, I have an offset red dot, but I like to put it on top if you have to do something kind of close in. Now, you're less likely to do that with a bolt gun, but it doesn't take up that much more space sitting on top of your scope. But that's me, and like I said, I'm just getting into distance shooting right now. So.
Let me ask you something, Paul.
Oh,
what do you
boy.
think it is about snipers that seem so sexy and mysterious?
Well, most people don't realize that you have to poop in a bag, and then your buddy has to wipe your butt for you, and then put the wipe in the bag.
Because you can't take eyes off the objective.
Well, that, and you can't leave anything behind. No, that's not all snipers. Like, I got a buddy in Georgia who, he's a K9 dog handler, and he went to sniper school. He didn't have to poop in a bag to be a sheriff.
So you're saying he didn't have to deal with backscatter?
The backscatter. No backscatter. It's going to be fascinating to see
Forever.
what order these videos come out
Forever.
of. Yeah, so I think the allure of snipers, I almost went to sniper school, but I gave it up to go to Pathfinder school, and then that somehow got screwed up. And this is a common thing that happens in the
Didn't you go to
military.
either one?
Yeah,
That
so I
sounds
went to
like the
neither.
Army.
I kind of got the raw deal there. The stoicism of being on your own. You usually have a spotter with you. And most snipers don't actually snipe. They call in. They're like foreign observer. Well,
okay.
they do.
So the mission may not be to actually take out an HVT or something.
Right, yeah. The mission might be just crawl out there and give us intel and then crawl back in. You know what I mean? I think there's just, it's really tough. You know, you have to know math too. You can't not understand math and be a sniper. Like, depending upon how far your shot is. But yeah, what about you, man? What do you think? Did you ever get a chance to go to sniper school?
No, I always wanted to because I thought snipers were cool.
Yeah.
Like, and also I feel like being a sniper takes a certain kind of temperament and personality, and I think I have that. Like, I'm okay being alone, I'm okay being isolated, you know, that kind of stuff. I like having a focus, something to keep my attention. The good thing about Special Forces is there are a lot of schools that were available to us just because we were a higher tier unit that might not have been available to a regular line guy. So look at
That's
that,
a sweet
another
Dixer right there.
bolt action sniper rifle.
Yeah. Wait.
Whoa, is that bullpup?
Yeah, this is a bullpup, and there are bullpup sniper rifles. Now, again, this is a bolt gun. I mentioned this in a previous video, but one of my favorite sniper rifles is a Walther WA-2000, or the WA. But that's a bullpup. That's a bullpup sniper rifle. It's semi-auto. Very expensive. Not a military weapon, more of a police weapon. So I wonder what caliber we're rocking here. And that silhouette looks pretty cool. That buttstock there. I think is this the
on
one
the
with
front
with
there?
the knob for the cheek razor to go, the shoulder thing that goes up?
I love the bipod there. It's full on. He's running around with it, but you can tell it was made to be posted up somewhere.
Yeah, that bipod's interesting that it comes up over the top of it. Oh! He just jumps down 2 stories, whatever, you know. So here we go, we got a little hot.
Oh, that's cheating!
Oh, man.
Cheater!
Oh, man. It looks like there might be a big muzzle device on here. I can't really tell. You must out the block.
Well, I think because it's a bullpup, I think everything's coming in a little bit.
Well, yeah, bullpups are much. Look at that. So, like.
But wait a second. There, it looks like he's taken 2
It's
things
stored
out.
up there. So it's stored up there, pop it out, and then stick it in from behind. Caltech has a rifle like that where you can store 2 10-round magazines in the buttstock and then pull it out.
Okay. Haley Strategic has a pistol version where the magazine
I've talked
is
about that several times.
You have? Okay.
It's I have a P320. I want to put a flux brace on it.
Flux brace.
Super innovative. So like they make them for Glocks and they make them for what's the best about the flux brace is 1, just this whole package. 2, P320 is a chassis system. Most pistols, it's the lower receiver, this whole frame, that's the gun. Where the P320 is like this internals that you can stick any lower on or any upper that's made for. You can go subcompact, a great big, 5-inch barrel and whatnot. It's literally you buy the lower, you take out your internals, which is the registered gun, you put it into that. Yeah, it's just super, the controls are super innovative and it's so compact, but it's really stable. It's really like, I think the best iteration of a PDW. It's awesome. It's super innovative. Everyone should get one if you're cool. If you're not cool, don't. Just do push-ups. MCS 880. Oh, we got a shotgun here.
All right, pump action shotgun.
Combat sight. So I have a couple of Remington 870s, and I bought this police tactical in 2005 when I got back from Iraq. I got all the bells and whistles except for ghost rings. I still kick myself to this day. I could put them on later, but I rather would have had ghost rings from the factory.
Ghost rings.
So that's not exactly ghost rings. Those are more combat sights, but it just allows for quicker alignment as opposed to just having a bead up front. Most traditional shotguns are going to have a bead. Most combat shotguns, though, have sights like this because you're going to be doing some more precise shooting, transitioning between slugs and buckshot. I like to run number 4 for personal defense myself. It has like this good combination of like lower recoil, but also flesh penetration versus like drywall penetration. Shotguns are super effective. I mean, for close in like this, they're fairly good. Like, a good combination would be that flux brace and the shotgun.
Oh,
that
really?
would be a good.
Okay.
I often, even when I was, when I was doing raids overseas, just because I was a big guy, they would give me, a chopped down shotgun shotgun that I would hang from a wolf tail and have strapped to me, and then I would be running my saw, or I'd have it over my back. And we would use that for breaching mostly. Sometimes if I was in a real tight corner, I'd strap my saw to myself and I would run through with my pistol or the shotgun. It wasn't super effective with that
shotgun for keep it handy for close encounters like an alien.
Yeah, actually we kept it on the gun shirts. A lot of guys would run shotgun. Another time I carried the shotgun, I had an airborne saw. I was specifically assigned to a canine unit, and my job was literally at all costs to defend the dog. That was it. It wasn't like the dog and the dog handler were my responsibility. It doesn't matter what else is going on. My job is them, and so I also had a shotgun from the dogs. Because sometimes a dog would run up and try to attack the working dog.
Yeah.
You know, instead of shooting a bunch of 5.56 into the dog, which would eventually kill it but not disable it, neutralize it right away with some buckshot.
Yeah. Battlefield 2042, folks. Good weapon selection that we saw. Paul, final thoughts on the weapon?
They all look pretty realistic. They look like something that could exist in 2042. I don't really have any major criticisms. I didn't see anything too cursed or unbelievable in it. It looked like a lot of fun.
I love seeing the sleek weapons design. You know, there's the old era, kind of the classic World War II, and then it's nice to kind of peek into the future to see like what things might be like. Maybe not a lot of major differences, but maybe just a few bells and whistles that make them a little more sleek and futuristic looking.
So let us know what the best weapons and your personal favorites are for Battlefield 2042. I'd really like to find out.
Folks, if you enjoyed this video, please check out Gamology's Facebook and YouTube page. If you want to hang out with me a little bit more, we got a brand new page, Shift Fire, with me and Cameron Fath, exploring all things military culture. Also, go ahead and check out the Pop Culture Field Manual podcast and my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/myhappyself. Paul, where can people get a hold of you?
You can get a hold of me on Instagram at MAV11B, MAV11B. Also check out my new podcast, Thunderpunk Radio, available on most streaming platforms and social media platforms. Thank you so much for watching.
Take care, folks. Until next time.
I miss you. Thank you so much for watching. I totally interrupted you.
No, I totally interrupted you. We'll start with this. Thank you so much for watching. Oh.